For years, the world accepted one clear story. Meghan Markle gave birth to Archie, end of story. No questions asked, but now someone new has stepped forward. Not with gossip, not with online theories, but with a claim so direct and so unsettling that it reopens a topic many believed was off limits. According to this source, the story the public accepted may not be the full story of what actually happened. And if even part of this claim is true, it doesn't just raise questions about a birth. It raises questions about everything around it. So tonight, this isn't about internet chatter or wild speculation. This is about following a timeline from what was seen to what was quietly questioned to what is now being alleged behind closed doors. This is the claim that never fully disappeared, and this is where it starts. It begins with a woman who says she was there. She attended an official royal engagement during Meghan Markle's time as a working royal. She wasn't watching from a screen or hearing about it later. She was physically present, following protocol, standing in the same space. And according to her, she witnessed something that should never have happened in public. For years, she tried to speak up quietly, not publicly, not for attention. She reached out privately, raising concerns about what she says she saw that day, but her messages were ignored. Her calls went unanswered, and when silence didn't make the issue go away, she claims pressure followed. According to her account, she was threatened. She says she was offered incentives to stay quiet. When that didn't work, fear took over. She now believes that speaking openly could put her at risk. And what makes this more serious isn't just her claim, it's who she believes already knows. According to her, the palace was informed, and they know exactly who she is. They know she has wanted to speak for years, and they know she's no longer willing to stay silent. The setting itself was ordinary by royal standards. An animal shelter visit. Cameras were there, the environment was controlled. Staff handlers and guests were carefully positioned, just like always. Meghan Markle, visibly pregnant at the time, moved through the engagement as expected. She greeted people, smiled for the cameras, and played her role. Then came the moment everything changed. As Meghan lowered herself to the ground and knelt during the visit, the witness says, something happened that immediately caught attention. A sound, sharp, clear, a pop, not imagined, not subtle. According to the account, it was loud enough that people nearby reacted. And in the seconds that followed, the witness claims the shape of Meghan's pregnancy belly appeared to change suddenly. What had looked prominent just moments before no longer looked the same. What matters here isn't interpretation, it's reaction. The witness says others noticed. Faces shifted. A silence settled in. No one spoke, not because nothing happened, but because speaking was never an option. This wasn't a private setting. This wasn't a rumour repeated later. This unfolded in real time in front of people who understood how tightly controlled royal appearances are meant to be. And yet, something went wrong. After that moment, the engagement continued, but the atmosphere had changed. According to the witness, Meghan soon excused herself. She asked for time away, saying she needed to use the bathroom. The witness says she followed shortly after, not out of suspicion, but simply by circumstance. What she claims to have seen next is what has stayed with her ever since. She alleges that Meghan was adjusting the pregnancy belly, not fixing clothes, not smoothing fabric, adjusting the belly itself. The witness didn't confront her. She didn't cause a scene. She didn't tell anyone at that moment. Instead, she did what most people would do in that position. She stayed quiet. But that silence, according to her, didn't last long, because soon after, she says she was warned explicitly. She was told not to speak about the visit beyond what had already been made public, not to discuss what she saw, not to describe what happened, not to question it. And so, she stayed silent. Not because the memory faded, but because fear replaced confusion. By the end of that day, the witness understood something clearly. Whatever she had witnessed was never meant to be talked about. By the time the engagement wrapped, something else had become obvious to her. What she saw wasn't just unexpected, it was protected. According to the source, everyone present that day had been given firm instructions. No personal recordings, no private photos, No commentary beyond what would later appear in official releases. These weren't casual requests. They were conditions. Access came with rules. And there was one key exception. The only cameras allowed to record freely that day belonged to Meghan Markle's own team. That detail matters. It explains how a moment seen by multiple people could exist in public, yet leave behind no independent footage, no alternate angles, no uncontrolled evidence. Every image that reached the public passed through a single filter. This wasn't accidental, it was by design. Once the witness understood that, she understood something else too. Even if she spoke, the lack of proof would be used against her. Silence wasn't just encouraged, it was engineered. When the witness eventually pressed for answers, quietly and carefully, she says she was given one, not publicly, not on the record, but directly. According to her account, she was told that Meghan Markle had been wearing a prosthetic pregnancy belly during public appearances. The reason she was given was even more startling. She was told it was done to protect the real pregnancy. There was no further explanation, no medical details, no official statement, just that justification. And instead of closing the issue, it made it heavier, because it raised a question no one could easily dismiss. If a pregnancy needed protection during tightly controlled royal engagements, secure locations, vetted staff, and full security, what exactly was the threat? The witness didn't argue. She didn't challenge the explanation. She understood that pushing back would come at a cost, but the explanation stayed with her, not because it made sense, but because it didn't. And this is where the story stops being personal, because in the royal system, nothing is ever just one person's decision. Pregnancy in the royal world is not just a private experience. It's a constitutional matter. Under long-standing royal protocol, a child's place in the line of succession depends on one crucial condition. The child must be born of the body. This isn't poetic wording, it's legal language. It determines legitimacy, inheritance, and the continuity of the monarchy itself. According to these claims, presenting a child as eligible for succession without meeting that requirement isn't a misunderstanding. It's not a technical loophole. It's described as deception as fraud, and at the highest level, a constitutional violation. And that's why silence mattered. That's why what the palace knew or chose not to address publicly carried real weight. Because if such a claim were ever proven, it wouldn't just damage one person's reputation, it would implicate an entire institution that allowed the story to stand. This is where everything changed. What began as a moment at an animal shelter suddenly carried consequences that reached deep into the structure of the monarchy itself. By now, one question hangs in the air. If this witness was silenced, was she the only one? According to the source, the answer is no. A former royal protection officer, someone whose job was to guard members of the royal family, had previously spoken out about misconduct he witnessed during his service. He wasn't an outsider. He was inside the system. And after he began speaking publicly, something happened that felt strikingly familiar. He received a formal letter. The letter didn't accuse him of lying. It didn't challenge his claims. Instead, it reminded him of his lifelong duty to confidentiality. It warned that continued disclosures could undermine trust and integrity within royal protection services. The message was simple and clear. Stop talking. What makes this detail important isn't just the letter itself, but where it allegedly came from. According to the account, the warning didn't come from a low-level office or a minor official. It came from the very top, from the palace, that established something critical. Silence around sensitive royal matters isn't accidental, it's enforced. And once that pattern is clear, the fear surrounding the animal shelter witness suddenly makes sense. The story then moves to the moment that should have resolved everything, the birth of Archie. At first, the narrative seemed straightforward. Reports named a highly respected obstetrician from an aristocratic family as the doctor who delivered the baby. The message was clear. Nothing unusual, nothing hidden. Then that story fell apart. The doctor's own family publicly denied that she had delivered Archie. The claim was dismissed as incorrect reporting, and yet no corrected version followed. No official clarification replaced it. To this day, there is no confirmed account of who delivered the child. In any other situation, this might seem like a minor detail, but in this one, it isn't. In this context, it becomes just another missing piece in a puzzle already filled with unanswered questions. Once again, silence replaced explanation. Despite attempts to move on, the story refused to fade away. On the day of Archie's birth, a message briefly circulated, short, public, and unsettling. It claimed the Sussexes had used a surrogate and apologised for any confusion. According to the account, that message was never officially addressed. No investigation, no denial, no clarification. On its own, it might have disappeared, but placed alongside everything else, it didn't. The controlled images, the conflicting birth reports, the witness who says she saw a pregnancy belly fail in public, the pressure placed on those who spoke up. Together, they formed a question that didn't shout or spiral online, but stayed persistent, because unanswered questions don't disappear. They survive silence. And this is where the story stands now. A witness verified, frightened but determined, is ready to speak openly. According to sources the palace knows, they know what she claims to have seen. They know she wants to tell the truth. And they know that once she does, this story cannot be pushed back into containment. This is no longer about belief. It's about pattern. It's about silence enforced through pressure. It's about institutions choosing quiet over clarity. And it's about the moment when silence stops protecting the truth and starts becoming the scandal itself. History shows that royal crises don't vanish. They wait, they build, and when they finally surface, the consequences are far greater than if they had been addressed at the beginning. This story isn't finished, it hasn't reached its end, and the most important voice in it, the one who was there, the one who witnessed the moment everyone else was told to forget, is no longer willing to stay quiet. What happens next won't be controlled, and that's what makes this moment different. Heat.